Okay, so let's go over our fall benchmark study guide. So question number 1, you're finding the length or distance between A and D. Okay, so we're going to need a sheet of graph paper. Alright, so my X and Y axis, sketch out real quick. Alright, and then I'm going to plot my points. So I'm going to plot -2, 7, and 4, -3. -2, 7, and then 4, -3. Alright, and then I will use my ruler and draw a straight line between those 2 points. Alright, so I'm finding the length or distance between those 2 points, A and D. So I'm going to have to use my Pythagorean theorem. So let me write that out real quick. So the Pythagorean theorem is A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Alright, so what I need to figure out are the 2 legs of the right triangle formed by the segment being my hypotenuse. So I'm going to draw my triangle. So let me use a different color. Alright, so I can show you exactly what you have to count to find the length between A and D. So you're counting these legs here. Alright, so I'm going to use a dot to count each unit. Alright, so that's 10. So that one's 10. Alright, and then this side is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 units. Alright, so those are my 2 legs, 6 and 10. So I'm going to plug that into my formula. 6 squared plus 10 squared equals x squared, because what I'm solving for is the hypotenuse, which we always label C, which is on your formula sheet as well. Alright, now I'm going to use my calculator to plug the left side in Y1 and the right side in Y2. So, here we go. First thing with your calculator is make sure that your window is set. Remember, we add 2 zeros to the end of each 10. Alright, and your window's good. Now go back to y equals, and I'm going to put the left side in, 6 squared plus 10 squared, and then y2, oh, there we go. And in y2 goes x squared, and then I'm going to hit second, trace 5, and wait for it to load. Now hit enter, right, enter, enter. And my answer is 11.66. Alright, so then we go back to the question, and it is a multiple choice question. So remember 11.66, so I got to figure out which of the radicals it matches to. So go back to my calculator, and I'm going to type in each of them one at a time. So the square root of 106 is equal to 10.29. Nope. The square root of 34 is equal to 5.8, so it must be the 2 square roots of 34. Yep, there it is, 11.66, so that's my answer, D. Alright, number 2, what is the center and the radius of a circle with the equation x squared plus y squared equals 100? Okay, so I know that my center comes from the values here and here. Either they're in parentheses, or usually sometimes you might just have the variable x and y. And when that happens, it's a 0 and a 0. So my center is at 0, comma, 0 at the origin. Alright, and then my radius is the square root of the number on the right side. That's how I find my radius. I always take the square root of this number and the square root of 100 in my calculator. Alright, square root of 100 is equal to 10, so I know my radius is 10. Alright, next we have a slope question, and we have to identify a point that lies on K. Alright, so my answer is going to be a coordinate. Okay, but let's read about what to do. We have line J on the graph that contains points negative 5, 1. That one right there. I like to graph those points. Alright, whenever they give me points, I like to graph them. And then 1, 5. Because you know that's probably the starting point, is graphing your points and doing something with those points, either slope, midpoint, distance, or whatever. So the question, I see a key word there, I see parallel. Alright, so I know that my line will be parallel to J. Alright, what I want to know about J is the slope. So I'm going to go ahead and count my rise and my run. So I'm going up, it looks like a distance of 4, and over a distance of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's positive because going up from left to right. So positive 4 over 6, which reduces to 2 over 3. Alright, so that's my slope, and since parallel lines have the same slope, I don't need to change my slope at all. It's good. So then I'm going to go ahead and graph, you know, at least 1 point or more, depending on how much space we have on the graph, and so forth. So if I start at P and I'm counting up 2, 1, 2, and then over 4, 3, 1, 2, 3, that's probably my only option, because you notice how we can't go up 2 and over 3 and that point be on the graph, so that could not be an answer, and neither could going down 2 over 3, because there's no point, you know, we run out of space on the graph. So the only answer would be this point, which the coordinates, if you start at the origin and count to the left 3, which is negative 3, and then you're counting up 6, so then my answer would be negative 3, comma, 6, and I would just type that into the box, and I'm done. Oops. Okay, next, number 4. We're again writing something in the box. It's going to be a slope question, so we're going to have to make sure that we use our slash for the fraction bar. So let's go ahead and, you know, graph our points. So I'm going to get a piece of graph paper, draw my x and y axis. And then graph my 2 points. So my 2 points were negative 1, 5, and 7, negative 1. Okay, so there it is. And now since it is a line, I do like to draw the line because it helps me determine whether the slope is positive or negative. That's the biggest mistake, is that sometimes we forget to write the negative sign if it's negative. Alright, so there's my nice pretty line. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my triangle, I guess, to help me count my slope. Alright, so the rise, distance, and then here's my run. So let me count carefully. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's going to be 6. That's my rise. My run will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 6 over 8. And like I said, that's a negative slope, so make sure that you remember to write negative if it is negative. Alright, so that does reduce, so use alpha y equals, we're going to reduce that to negative 3 over 4. Alright, and so that should be the answer, unless I have to switch it. But no, it just wants regular old slope, so negative 3 it is, over 4. Alright, number 5, you are going to create the equation of a circle given a center at negative 3, 4 and the diameter of 12. So right off the bat, a red flag pops up in my head because I remember I'm going to use the radius always. So remember, the radius is half of the diameter, so I just have to divide 12 in half. 12 divided by 2, alright, that will be 6. So I know that my radius is 6. Alright, and the number that goes beside the equal sign on the right side is your radius squared. So I'm going to write that here just for you to remember. And you do have the formula sheet as well, so you can double check on the formula sheet, which I will show you in class where to find that. So since my radius is 6, alright, radius is 6, all I have to do is figure out what 6 squared equals. So my calculator, 6 squared equals 36. So I do see 36 as one of the options. So I'm going to put that right there. Now this part should be easy because all you have to do is switch the sign. So you're going to find a positive 3, so at x plus 3. Now you do have options that do have the exponent 2 in the corner, and you have some without. But again, double check your formula sheet because it's squared. So I'm going to choose x plus 3 squared because c plus and minus, those are the opposites. So I got that good. Now I'm going to check my 4, so I'm going to choose a negative 4, a y minus 4 with the exponent 2. And so I'm done. And again, double check your formula sheet to make sure that you have, gotten all those little details. All right, number 6, this is a circle question, so we have to graph the circle. So again, I'm going to get my sheet of graph paper, draw my x and y axis. Alright, and then I'm going to probably have to graph a center. Alright, so my center is at 2, negative 4. 2, negative 4. There's the center of my circle. Alright. Then it says it gives me a point that lies on the circle. So point T, 2, negative 1, lies on circle P. So let me do that. 2, negative 1. Alright, so that's pretty simple. Again, my center, I'm going to actually highlight it with green. There's my middle. So if I count to that point that's on the circle, then I'm going to figure out my radius. My radius is 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to count it 3 units in each direction to finish up my circle. I'm going to get those 4 primary points. So I'm going to go ahead and count in each direction to the right, down, and left 3 units. Okay, since that's the length of my radius, as you saw. So here's my circle, alright, and I'm going to do the best that I can to make the circle pretty. I like to go one arc at a time. And if I mess up, then I can just erase it and try again. Alright, so that looks pretty circular. Alright, now the question does say which other point also lies on circle P. Alright, so let me graph each of these points to show you how easy it is to pick out the right answer. So I'm going to go ahead and graph 2, 2. That was answer choice A. Alright, I would have to say absolutely no. That point's not even close. Answer choice B is negative 4, negative 4. Again, not even close. So I'm going to go ahead and cross that one off. 1, negative 4, answer choice C. 1, negative 4, there's answer choice C. I'm not really sure. That one definitely, that's inside the circle, but it does look like it's close to being the center. However, the center is not one of your points. But we'll look at the last one. Hopefully that one's the right answer. Negative 1, negative 4. Oops, sorry. And negative 1, negative 4 is actually one of those primary points. One of the 4 major points that we graph. And so answer choice D would be my answer. Alright, I'm going to stop the video now and finish up a part 2 video.